Because if we don't show up on time, Jason Keller starts to get really upset.
Well, I was going to say, Mike Kosicki already said he's like 12 millers deep. So
Yeah.
he's ready to party.
Oh, man. Ready to go.
And he just says, I am here.
He's being modest.
That's right. He's got two fists full of wings and all those Miller Lights. And it is Monday. We are here. This is episode 206 of Snakes and Stogies, which is brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out, Facebook, Instagram. Get yourself something nice. Add it to the cart. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 10% off your order. Save even more by choosing the pickup option. If you're in the general Southeast region, you don't mind making a little bit of a drive to North Georgia, outside of the Atlanta area, and just pick it up yourself.
Anyone who's curious about their shipping, we always talk about how fantastic a pack job they do. And it's not just because they're our sponsors. Go to my Instagram page, watch the reel that has me opening the box for a XC2, excuse me. You will see it is the best pack job of any enclosure you've ever purchased or ever seen. So check it out.
I think they figured out very early on that UPS or FedEx or any of the shipping companies they use are absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
To any sort of boxes, and that it's just easier to just spend the extra money to make sure the packaging is
for sure
on point. Because I remember when our buddy Sean was doing a lot of that stuff, he was having constant issues with FedEx, like breaking stuff and having to replace, whole side panels or back panels because it looked like FedEx had just decided to like play hacky sack with it with their forklifts.
Oh yeah.
And just toss it back and forth. And it was rough for him. So I can only imagine with the amount of stuff that BlackBox sends out that it's, I just get it over with and put a little extra care into the packaging.
It's crazy because the styrofoam protective inserts that are around the border edges of the enclosure, they must buy them specifically for each individual size because it is so perfectly fit snug to that box. And they use the packing tape to put the styrofoam pieces around the border of the enclosure to where if you open the whole top of the box, you can grab the packing tape like handles and just slide the whole thing out easy peasy. Yeah. I mean, like they put a ton of thought into getting that thing to your door unscathed. So,
yeah. Well, you won't be disappointed. Racks, cages, whether you like one, whether you like the other, whether you like both, there's something there to pique anyone's interest. A bunch of different sizes and options, combinations for the racks, that kind of thing. And check it out. And then cold-blooded caffeine, best coffee around. Yeah, I do have it right here. Just the Snakes and Stogies blend.
Just,
grab you some. Link down below. Also, won't be disappointed. It's delicious. Get you some. And then FullVaceApparel.com. Use that code THN at checkout as well. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. Got bookmarks now.
Yeah, you do.
Boy, I'm over here crafting in my kitchen like a
Susie
38-year-old soccer mom with nothing to do because I got.
Do you have your tumbler full of vodka?
No.
Are you driving a Lexus SUV?
That would be considerably better than my Ford.
Well, then you are not selling enough bookmarks, sir.
I'm not. So either way, those are fun. Just a little something I started tinkering with. And those are available on the website now. And
how many people bought Boom Slang shirts? I got to know.
A decent.
I did.
Right there.
I saw it.
Right.
I was like,
I do too.
Yeah. Hands in the air.
That one's done well.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna play. It's become probably one of my favorites. It just
for sure.
We
It's so
talked about
gorgeous.
I like the gothiness of it.
I think
everybody bleeds.
Need to make extra large dog bandanas next for my Great Dane, maybe.
There you
and
go.
my goat.
It can be done.
Just saying.
Yeah, for sure customer right here.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The I'm working on very closely with Doc Loafman on a false water cobra shirt that's kind of been in the works
Sweet.
for the last couple weeks. I've been working on it, sending him what I got. He tells me what he wants to change, work on it some more, send it back and forth, that whole thing. And I think we might just have it down now. So that may be hitting here soon. He's a busy
Cool.
guy, so I don't really press him too much.
Yeah.
On it, but that, and then the new An Instrument of God that will never stay in tune shirt that I'm currently wearing. That's got to go up soon. That's a bookmark right now, but I worked on that over the weekend. It was just an idea I'd had for a while. Decided to throw it together.
Hell yeah. It's not like we don't love books,
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it. Like, I saw him and I was like, well, let me try it out. And I was like, I know I like to read, and I use freaking old magic cards from my bedside table for bookmarks half the time. So I was like, let me get real bookmarks, and I'm sure someone else will appreciate them too. Just have something small to have at the table too at Daytona. So
yeah, absolutely.
I got a little spinning rack for it and stuff. And
do you remember those when you were a kid in elementary school going to book fair or whatever it was, and there was the hologram dragon or the hologram ghosts, and you could rub your fingers on it. It was zzz, you gotta do one of those of a standing eye gecko or something outlandishly floral colored, some dart frogs.
People even I haven't even seen anything with that material.
I know. It's like extinct material from the 90s.
It's probably horrible for the environment. I don't know. I haven't seen that in so long.
That's the next project.
We'll have to investigate.
Yeah.
Because now I'm curious.
We need some Mantella bookmarks, some Standing Eye Gecko bookmarks.
I just remember the school agenda covers.
Yeah, of course.
Same material, come circa 2000, and it had the dude on the bicycle and the Millennium and just I guess that's what they thought the future would be in Y2K, and that's what we got. So
yeah.
What are you smoking this evening?
I scored a stick of sticks that I didn't think I'd find locally, and I was at the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy one online and just be that guy. I found in the wild an H99.
Oh,
so I've yet to have one. Liga Privada H99. No, I know, but I hate bugging you with that shit. But I was just like, hey man, I went to this place that I never go to. I was like, hey, you got any Drew Estate stuff? He's like, oh yeah, we got Liga this and Liga that, and I got some H99s. I was like, oh, thank you. Yes.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it because it's the jury's still out on it. A lot of people are kind of mixed. I think the problem is Drew Estate hyped that up for 6 years before it actually got released, and so it's if you're going to do that, it better be damn good by the time it hits. And I think people just expected more. I love it. I think it's great. It's
well, let me ask you,
still not a T52, but
no, I'm with you on that. And I don't know if this is an optical illusion because the band has that maroon ink to it, and the pen writing Liga Privada H99 is in that maroon red color, that very dark burnt chestnut. Is the cigar itself a reddish hue, or is that it's
Corojo?
Yeah, and it
Corojo hybrid. It's a weird.
It feels super oily, so I'm very excited.
I don't know. I got excited when I saw Corojo because that's one of my favorite wrappers on cigars, and so when I saw Liga was doing one, I was like, that's going to be awesome. And it is not a bad cigar. Again, T52 is still kind of the one to beat for me. And I know you're a number 9 guy, so it'll be to see.
Yeah. What about you?
But they also have that in a Lancero, and they have that.
Yeah,
Raj has them at the shop, but the problem is they're $25 a piece, and I have yet to be able to bring myself to spend the coin on it, just because I know I'm going to smoke it super hot. It's going to, I'm eventually, maybe next week, maybe I'll splurge and get a shot next week.
I'll let you be my guinea pig.
I am smoking a Blackbird Rook.
There you go.
Which is their Colorado wrapper. It's very good. I really like a lot of the Blackbird stuff. I don't think they've made anything so far that I didn't like. The Mexican San Andreas wrapper, I think it's the Crow, is okay. It's not my favorite. But I've said for a couple years now that Unkind, which has a purple band on it, is phenomenal. That is one of the most interesting and unique cigars in the industry right now, in my opinion. And then they got Coco, which is a Criollo wrapper, Finch, which is a Sumatran, which was also kind of underwhelming. Wasn't anything special, but everything else is worth trying. So give that a shot if you see them. Good price point. The owner was actually at the shop while we were in the Francis Marion on that trip, so I missed that event, which was kind of a bummer because I was looking forward to that one. But oh well, I'm sure he'll be back around at some point. So, is there anything new down there?
Over here.
Yeah, let's just jump into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What's new?
I don't know anything. What do we have new? I can't keep up.
Nothing in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's good for her. It's good.
No, that's a lie.
Smitty, would you like to give a proper introduction?
Yes. This week we are joined by Cole Chapman and Alyssa Kelly of C3 Exotics. I've been meaning to hit up Cole. I was telling him before we started, I've been meaning to hit him up for a couple of weeks now. But our schedules have been really, really weird. This time of year is just odd. It's just busy, with just weird random stuff. Work has been super hectic because it's sort of festival season. So that means I'm balls to the wall from 9 to 5 pretty much every day, and then I come home and it's playing catch up with the collection and all that stuff. So between that and kids getting out of school and whatnot, makes for a hectic season. And eggs, all kinds of stuff. But I'm glad we had it happen. Cole has a ton of stuff. If anyone follows him on Instagram, he's got some really, really interesting species and stuff that I'm pretty excited to talk about because it's stuff you just don't see terribly.
Very, very diverse collection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Dude, there's like a Mothra-sized freaking beetle flying around in here. What
Catch
is it? Jesus.
Could be a cock. I mean, we're in Louisiana, so it's cockroach season. So we've got all kinds of roaches out ready, but I just usually toss them to a tarantula and call it good. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you?
Smitty, we have a show to run.
I know, dude. This thing's like a hummingbird.
It's not going to carry you away.
Huge.
We have two choices. You can either stare at it intently,
I know.
Or
it won't stop.
or you can catch it and show it to the audience.
do an Ozzy Osbourne
Bite its head
situation.
off.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Does it have a horn?
I don't know, dude. It's
What
just
color
a
is it?
flurry of legs.
Is it metallic in color?
I don't know. Let me see.
Is it speaking Japanese?
Oh no, we've lost him.
I know, that's it. That was it. I made the mistake of saying go catch it. Oh Lord. Watch. Here's the best part. He's gonna bring it back and it's gonna be like the size of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, we're glad to have you guys on. This is going to be a good show. We usually give the preliminary introduction of how'd you get into herpetoculture, how'd you get, reptiles, amphibians, creepy crawlies, inverts, whatever you want to call it. But rarely do we have a duet. So whoever wants to go first, let's hear about it. Obviously, we're also going to know how you guys linked up and was it because of this? But yeah, take it away. Whoever wants to chime in first. I mean, I feel like we should do ladies first. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, I was born in Arizona and right smack. Well, I wasn't born in the desert, but my grandma lives within Saguaro National Park.
Oh, very cool.
As kids, we were constantly outside, just running around, catching things, picking up things. my grandpa and my dad were really, and my uncle were all really big reptile lovers. So
Nice.
immediately they brought me into, we go catch tarantulas or check them out and watch them move throughout the nightscape. We go and catch the big Colorado River toads when it was monsoon season.
Awesome.
We would constantly, like, my uncle works in construction, so he would relocate any animals that he would come across. Sometimes that was Gila monsters. So I was just ingrained from the beginning, like, reptiles are really cool. They're awesome. So
Yeah.
I lived there until I was 9, and then I moved to Idaho. A little less fun as far as like reptiles up there, but still I was always out catching stuff and
Yeah.
everything. But I really love tarantulas. So I had a couple tarantulas as a high schooler, and then I married somebody who didn't like any of that whatsoever. So
Weak.
yeah. He wouldn't even look at a ball python. It was just too much. So
Yeah.
fortunately we got rid of him, and I moved down here to Louisiana to attend a master's program.
Very cool.
And while I was down here, I was like, I need something. I want stuff, and I'm on my own, so I can do whatever I want. So I ended up going into an exotic pet shop where this handsome young man came and approached me, and we started chatting, and I was there for like an hour and a half.
Nice.
I worked there. I want to
Yeah, he worked there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
And,
lady, want to buy some spiders?
I don't work here, but if you need anything, just let me know.
I'll be outside following you to your car.
It was very charming and very polite. I didn't even know he liked me for almost a year. And then eventually we like figured that out. I mean, I was just he was oblivious and I was oblivious, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come look at my lizards and stuff?"
Wink, wink.
Say no more.
And I came over and looked at his lizards.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, but we met up at the reptile expos between that time frame every time, and we just like walk through everything and check everything out. And this fella over here was like, apparently I found out afterwards that he was like, if I buy a rattlesnake in front of her, she'll think I'm cool.
Nice.
Which I did, but it didn't take a rattlesnake. So
that's good.
Yeah. So I have 8 tarantulas, 3 snakes. I have the basic like AC Monty, my little striped kneed tarantula. My second tarantula was an HMAC.
Nice. Swing for the fences.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was like, they're my favorite, and I was like, I'll be fine. And she was very polite. Her name's Kabuki. She was very polite, very fast, very polite though.
I'll say they always are until they're not.
I know, yeah. But she would. When I went to rehouse her, she slowly walked from one enclosure into the other, and when I give her food, she would take it slowly and politely. I was like,
that's bizarre.
Yeah,
that's the opposite of my experience.
my OTB, kind of a wuss. Hardly ever see her. If I do anything, she just disappears. Now my curly hair, different story. He's and the Mexican red rump. She is chalupa. She is not polite about the tongs. But
that's wild. The OBT is one of the few spiders that really gives me the heebie-jeebies, just because they're just batty and toxic, and just the whole brain damage thing kind of weirds me out. You know what I mean? So sorry, I digress. Go on.
That's okay. Gritty is really polite though.
That's good.
I
you got
don't
a
know.
good one. You got a real good one.
We haven't tried to rehome Gritty yet.
No, we haven't tried to rehouse Gritty. And then he got one.
I have a Borneo Black.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Never see it.
Her name's Helen.
When you do see it, it's super cool.
It is. Super cool.
Yeah, she is.
Got
and then I have
webs or no?
she spends most of her time behind the background,
Oh,
and
okay.
she webs up in there,
Yeah.
but you don't ever see it.
No.
All right.
And I have my little Trinidad chevron. My Lafitte is my Brazilian black guy.
Excellent.
Nice.
All-time
Covered
fave.
everybody. Yeah.
This is a poker house.
This is a house of pulcra.
That's right.
Yeah. And then I have a classic rescued bearded dragon. His name's Marv.
Nice.
He runs the show in the house and scares the Great Dane into a corner.
Nice.
He'll push the
nice.
Great Dane off the bed,
Yeah.
and then poop on her bed.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
My black roughneck monitor. And then I have a corn snake that was also kind of a rescue situation. And I have my little Candoya Paulsoni. She's freaking awesome. And then I
Cool.
have my boas. I like him kind of all over the spectrum as far as like what I like. If I see something and I like it and I find it really interesting, I find it cool, it's mine. So
Nice.
that's about how we roll in this house.
Excellent.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
how you find out what you're really into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trial and error. Yeah. And how about Cole, man? What got you into this?
So classic story. I like dinosaurs a little too much as a kid. My mom says I could recite all the names. I don't remember. I think I was about 7 or 8 when we were at Home Depot. I grew up in Oklahoma, so I saw a green anole among the outdoor plants, and green anoles are not native to Oklahoma. So I caught it and I put it in a cup. My parents made me go ask an employee if I could take it home. So they said yes, and then we took it home. My parents bought a setup for it. This was, early 2000s, so like the care was not there.
Yeah.
We still had heat rocks and stuff like that. So we took that home. They spent a bunch of money getting everything set up. Bought a couple more from PetSmart. And that's where it really got started. I mean, I didn't really take care of it that much because I was 8. But after that, we had some firebelly toads and firebelly newts. And then once those moved on, I didn't have anything to do with reptiles until about 2018.
Wow.
I had, at that time, I'd been thinking about getting a snake for about 2 years. And I was in the Navy at the time. And I said, I went on a 6-month deployment to Korea. And I said, when I get back, I'm getting a snake. I didn't know what I wanted. I had barely done any research. I was between a ball python, a red tail boa, and a carpet python. Went to the local exotic store. And luckily I talked to a dude that bred carpets.
Excellent.
And so he pointed me in that direction. And I think that's where my love of not the mainstream stuff came into play. I went in just to check it out and ended up leaving $600 lighter in my wallet with a baby carpet python.
Hell yeah.
And then ever since then, it's gotten a little crazy. I'm very eccentric. So I just like to have a bunch of different stuff. My interests are wide and deep.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Diversity.
A lot of it.
Spice of life.
That's right.
It changes. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it changes. It just keeps increasing. But I can't really say anything because it's the same over here. But we were at what Reptile Expo was that with balls?
Oh, we went to the Conroe show.
Yeah.
Herp's Conroe show in Texas.
I've heard that's a good one.
It was pretty decent.
They do that one pretty regularly, right? It's a couple times a
Yeah,
year.
I think a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Not as big as Daytona or anything, but it's bigger than our local shows. And I like the variety of venomous that's there.
Very cool.
That's
Very cool.
I didn't realize that I really liked like the lighter arboreal type species until somebody handed me that Thrassops occidentalis, put it in my hand, and I was like, this guy is so cool. And I just couldn't stop smiling when I was holding him. So he at first we thought maybe it was Jack's eye, but the more we looked at him, because that's what he was listed on as on the container. But when we got home and we were like, this is Occidentalis, when we started comparing stuff. So he was super cool. Just
the scalation on those things is wild.
Yes.
It's like plated almost.
Yeah.
Yes. Just I was like, he's like my little mini kind of less dangerous boom slang. Oh no.
Sorry. Echo in my ears killing me.
Oh. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. But just the way he moved and the way he interacted with things around him, I was like, this why don't more people have this? This is super cool. I just flabbergasted. So I wish I saw more of them out in the hobby, but
seems like they kind of come in waves from what I've noticed. I don't know, Phil, if you've seen that much as far as like kind of what's
well, I also think a lot of people call them Jackson eye and don't really bother to speciate between them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they get labeled as Jackson eye and people don't even second guess it and just go with it.
Yeah, I also feel like there's a lot of people that appreciate them and enjoy them, but no one's really focused on them. And so because of that, the husbandry can always be better, right? I'm not saying that people aren't taking good care of their thrassops, but I feel like if someone focused on them the same way that people kind of focus on like Spilotes, for example, they're
Jansenii
or Gonyosoma, it would hone in that species more people could appreciate it, get some legitimate captive breeding, not just the occasional clutch, from a wild caught specimen. And I feel like when that does happen, not if, but when that does happen, it will be a definitively a mainstream, not mainstream, but you're saying not the carpet opposed to the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the only person I know of that's had sort of a reasonable level of success with them as far as like the breeding goes is Elijah Day, and he hatched out a few, and then he had a hell of a time, I think, getting them established, and just unfortunately didn't.
I know Ivory Exotics has been doing some work with the Jackson eye. I think she's had a couple clutches, if I'm not mistaken, hatch out.
That's great.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, she's dialed in.
As far as, so venomous wise, Phil's a venomous guy. I've kept some in the past, not a ton. What do you got going on there?
So the venomous is they're more, I wouldn't say pets, but they're more of a look animal for me. I don't really have any aspirations as far as breeding them.
They're pets. They all have names.
Yeah, but you can't touch them.
We talk to them.
You're not actively in the engagement of petting, but I've got cobras. I consider them pets.
You can pet anything once.
That's true. That's true. You pet it every time you tail it, right?
So right now I don't have a whole lot. I'm kind of limited by space at the moment, and I don't like to just throw them in whatever. As far as caging goes, I want to make sure that I can actually lock the cage and
what a weirdo.
Escape proof.
Yeah, why would you want to do that?
Freak.
Well, you'd be surprised. I know of some people.
Oh yeah.
But right now we've got a couple rattlesnakes, a pygmy, and a eastern Massasauga.
Excellent.
I have just the classic gaboon, the West African gaboon, Vitis rhinoceros. A squam.
Yeah.
I need that shirt.
Yeah, we're gonna order that new Aethera shirt too.
Yeah, I still got to put that on the website too. I don't think I have yet.
I saw it on the website the other day.
Is it?
Did you?
Yeah.
I think it is. I don't know. I can't keep
so
up.
I've got the squam, and then Copperhead.
Hershey
the Copperhead.
So now, real quick, you being where you guys are, which Copperhead do you have?
Well, I think they're supposed to be all Easterns now.
Okay.
But technically, I guess it would be a Southern. If,
okay. Do you know the locality, or
right? I don't know.
Did you catch it in Louisiana or no?
I got it brought to me when I was at the pet store. We had some people bring in things from time to time,
Okay.
and I would tell people. I mean, I would just most of the stuff I'd release, but if it was a really pretty specimen, I'd
Yeah,
take it to my house.
of course.
Say what you will about copperheads, man, but those are a fun species to keep.
They're
They're
super,
I
great.
did
super
enjoy
cool.
mine that I've had 2 over the last, I don't know, 15 years, but every time I've had them, they've just been enjoyable. Like they're not, they're not a handful. They're just uncomplicated.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're fantastic eaters. I've had
Hardy.
2 individuals, and both of them eat frozen off of tongs within the first week of being
Mm-hmm.
in a cage. Yeah, I really like the copperheads. I think I'll just maintain one in the collection from here on
Yeah.
out.
Can't hurt.
And then
Cobras.
last thing is I've got a pair of snouted cobras, the banded.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Super awesome. They're my first foray into keeping elapids. I've worked with some elapids in the past, like some Moroccans and some big forest cobras that are a handful, but these are the first ones that I've brought into the house and decided to keep.
Excellent. How big are they now?
They're
Okay.
small.
Got plenty of time.
Yeah. I picked them up at the Conroe show in Texas, and I was told that they're from who's the guy that produces the albino gaboons?
There's a couple guys in South Africa that have them.
It's from one of the guys. He's big on Instagram. He supposedly hatched them out, and they got shipped over here. And
Okay,
that was
cool.
the last pair available, so I picked them up.
Excellent. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, they used to be one of the more readily available venomous, and they just dried up.
Yeah,
You know,
I've
the people that were breeding them just stopped.
I've seen 3 in the past year that I can think of off the top of my head, and those have only been posted for the past month up on Fauna.
Oh wow.
You think it's just from like a lack of interest or countries closing?
No, I think it's the guys that were producing them in good clutch numbers just stopped because people were just sick of it. You know, I mean, at one point they were like, $60, and then everyone was like, all right, well, nobody really wants these. They get 7 foot, and there was a lot of that misnomenclature of like banded Egyptian, even though it's not an Egyptian, and it just stopped. I know there was like 4 guys by me that used to do like 3 or 4 clutches a year, and from what I gather too is, and please someone correct me if they're listening to this, I guess they're super cannibalistic during breeding. And I know that I've had some buddies that lost one of the individuals during courtship, just murdered them. So who knows?
Makes me wonder. I have obviously, I use hooks when I work with them.
Yeah.
Every time I let them like inspect the hook, they are always trying to eat it. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
because they're smelling the other snakes on there and they might be like an Ophiophagus species. That was my first initial thought, but they always seem very, very interested in eating the hook.
Yeah, that's just cobras.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of a pattern I've noticed with a lot of cobras in general. Is like if there's anything that I'm going to worry about eating its cage mate, it's probably going to be some species of cobra.
Yeah.
And,
I think too is a lot of the cobras, they're just conditioned that when something comes in that enclosure, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people get flack on the internet for doing the like food outside the window with the tongs and having the snake come out. And obviously that is not safe, and obviously that is not cool. They're just doing it for the visual entertainment of it. But there's a lot of people that do it in a particular way so that a hook or hand is not regarded as a prey item. And I mean, I don't want to go too crazy in depth of it because it's diverting from the conversation.
A tad of logic there.
But yeah, but there is a particular way to do it where you're not pulling the whole animal out onto the ground and doing a show of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, all my cobras, anything that goes in there is getting taste tested. So that's just them. But I feel like you also got ones at a great size where they're not babies that are feeble and a pain in the ass, but they're also not monster adults that already have their own personality. So you're gonna have plenty of time to to work with them and acclimate them and get them used to you messing with them and whatnot. So that's a great size, I think, for them.
Yeah, that was my goal when I set out to get my first elapid. Was I want something that's past the fragile stages, but I want something that's, you know, captive bred and still a juvenile, so that I can grow with it as it matures.
Excellent.
I can learn how to handle these animals.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
They're a lot different than the animals I've worked with in the past as far as cobras go. Those ones I worked with in the past were already adult size. It's a bit of a learning curve, but I mean I'm doing all right at it. I haven't been bit, so that's a good sign.
It's very good. Very good.
It's a good marker of success.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Henry said best is to get babies.
Yeah.
Henry's just saying that so you can feed him to his king cobras. Every time I post a picture of a rhino or something, he posts a picture of Mango's face just staring over an edge.
Yeah. Well, and I also I feel bad saying oh yeah, snouters eat each other. That's not the case at all. I feel like someone like yourself that has them as in a pet capacity is going to be way more in tune to their body language and their personality, to the point where you're not going to have a problem breeding them in the future. The guys that had issues, it would be like, oh yeah, I threw them together for a couple days and I came back and one was dead, you know? So it's a very different scenario. I just wanted to throw that out there because I felt bad. I was like, oh man, I just poo-pooed on his dreams. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It also seems sort of similar to, because people said that about the Cyanea a lot too. They were like, oh, you know, you got to be careful when you pair them because they're cannibalistic. Like, I kept mine together for months.
Yeah, see, I would have never thought that.
Never had an issue. Like, never had a female, never even attempted.
Yeah.
You know, they were very similar in size. Obviously, she was bigger, but it was never a concern. I never saw any signs of any issues. So, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I've kept, mangroves 3-4 at a time in a cage for months and never had problems. So that's interesting. Yeah. All right, so we're back to cobra. So you got the 2 snouteds. Did we forget anything?
That's it as far as the venomous goes.
All right, cool.
Pygmies.
It's a great little group, man.
Yeah.
Can you get more pygmies?
What's that?
You gonna get more pygmies?
That's the plan. I had a Carolina red that was a baby, and I was told it was feeding. It wasn't, and I could only get it to eat 1 frog ever, and I could never get it to eat anything else besides that, and it didn't end up making it, unfortunately, but it was super pretty. I'd like to give another shot at those, and then I would like to get some westerns as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really like the pygmies. That was my first venomous snake, actually. I picked it up at a show, and he was just a great little snake.
He's still a great little snake.
Still a great little snake.
He's so
Very
cute.
cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more pygmies there in the future.
You gonna breed the gaboon?
Larry.
I don't think so. I think he's just going to be just a showpiece, essentially.
Yeah.
I got him another wild caught female and a rhino for free.
Oh wow.
Some guy brought him into the pet shop and was like, I can't keep these anymore. I need to find him a home. And I was like, well, I'm like the only one here that's even remotely qualified to deal with this. So I'd take him. So I got him for free, but I don't think I would have ever gone out and purchased one.
I get it.
And I'm happy that he's here and I have him, but like, I don't, he's pretty boring. He doesn't move for like 6 weeks at a time.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
That must be a pretty
gorgeous.
common occurrence though with a lot of shops and stuff like that. Because I know Phil, you've had similar experiences. I don't know. That's just like the first place people think to go when they have stuff like that.
Well, and that's why anybody who trains venomous, I'm glad Henry's in the group chat. I'm sure he'll chime in on this, but anybody who mentors venomous or trains venomous, you always got to have a gaboon, and specifically at least one gaboon, because so many people, it's one of the most factoid snakes there is, right? It lives in the leaf litter. It's got this giant head. The western one has horns. The eyes move independently. It has the longest fangs in the animal kingdom, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's so enamored with them. But then they work with them for 6 months, a year, 2 years. And then finally they wind up getting their permit or they get their own animals. And they're like, yeah, I don't want one anymore. Because it's just a pile of leaves, you know? And I love them. I've got one. And I got a massive girl. She's almost probably pushing 5 foot. And I hope to breed her one day. I just haven't found the right boy for her. But it's definitely it's fun to have one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, like, if a male comes across my path that's the right color and the right size, I might pick him up and breed her once. But I don't see myself being a quote unquote gaboon breeder, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can't imagine it'd be easy to part with those babies as well. Just because, I mean, the price point that they come in at from the importers tables is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick them up for $150 at our local shows all day long. Just little babies.
Mhm.
And they've been $150 for 10 years, you know?
Yeah. And you're in Florida, right, Phil?
Yeah.
So I imagine your market's even way more limited. At least local.
It used to. Well, see, I come from, I mean, I don't want to say venomous Mecca, but like everything would come in through Miami. So all my local hubs and my local wholesalers and stuff, I would go there weekly. I worked at most of them, and I was the venomous guy for one of them for a long time. And we would just get crates and crates and crates of baby gaboons and puffs and rhinos. And we would wholesale them for $30-40. And then, we would wholesale them for $30-40. Then those companies that bought them, they'd sell them for 75 or 80, depending on what it was. And people bought them, man. They did. They snatched them up. But it was not really the local guys keeping them. It was all out of state.
Mhm.
And so most of the people down by me, shy of having the one random pet gaboon, it's kind of dropped off because none of the importers are doing venomous anymore. None of the wholesalers are doing venomous. So now it's purely small niche boxes coming from Europe of very eclectic captive bred stuff. And then once in a blue moon, we get a big shipment from West Africa. You know, there'll be 50 gaboons in there, and that'll take care of the country for a little while for now. And then it'll dry up again, and it's cyclical.
I think Henry's right about people don't realize how fast and scary they can be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
For
he
sure.
doesn't. My guy doesn't move until he does, and then if you blink, you missed it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's terrible because they're extremely cute. Like that face, the cheeks,
Oh yeah.
the eyes, everything about them is like, snuggle me. Well,
Then
at least
if
my
it-
dog, but
Yeah, if it wasn't
Can't do it.
lethal, everyone would want one. You know?
it's the penne pasta snake. They got the penne pasta down the back.
Yeah.
That's
I never thought about that.
We always called them bow ties. Say have those little
Okay.
butterfly bow ties, you know,
mhm. Yeah.
on the sides.
I work in a hospital setting. I work in anatomical pathology as a pathologist assistant, but I talked to the team around me all the time about different reptiles. I have a snake, like a neon light with a hand holding a snake at my gross bench. And so all of the staff have kind of picked up on different things, and they'll ask me, they're like, how's the penne pasta snake doing? 'Cause
Nice.
that's how they know. But
That's good.
and one of the staff members fell in love with our Vietnamese cave dwelling rat snake, Churro, because we had a reptile day where my supervisor allowed us to come in and kind of like present the reptiles, some of them that we had,
That's
and
cool.
they could like hold stuff and interact with everything. And there are so many people that were smiling. There were some people that would not enter the room, but they'd like look around the corner and look in the door. I constantly have people who work around me that are asking, they're like, hey, do you want to sell that one snake? I'm like, no, that's mine. You can't have that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But you can have I'll help you go find, a different one. So that's been fun. But yeah, there's different terms that come up. So penne pasta snake is Larry
Nice.
or gaboon
Nice.
viper. So
That's good, man. Larry's. That's a great name for a gaboon.
It's really disarming.
It is. It is. It's like, oh, that's just Larry. You know, he's
You
fine.
just blow out your kidney, but
Yeah,
you know, it's just Larry. It's fine.
Yeah. Or, babe, Larry's looking at me, just side eyeing you. You know?
Well, we come in there. He's huffy.
Yeah,
does huff a lot.
he's a vocal guy.
Yeah.
Do you guys do the leaf litter thing or no?
Yeah,
Yep.
I've got him in a naturalistic cage right now.
Awesome.
It's cool, but I will say it's
Scary.
Yeah.
yes. It's scary.
Where's
just
Larry?
How quickly he
You know he can
disappears
see
into
you,
that.
but you can't see him. You gotta
Yeah.
think.
Do you have lighting on him or no?
I did. I just rearranged some stuff in my room, so I don't have lighting on him right now, but I'll get it back up on there.
Well, it's amazing how they do cryptic bask, right? But it's amazing how they prefer like it's shady. So like I haven't had a light on mine in probably like 4 or 5 years, but the room is very windowed and there's other lights from everything. So like it's not just a dark hole, but they love that overcast forest floor darkness. So I have a flashlight that I leave next to her enclosure because I literally will use the flashlight and I'll find her face first before I even unlock the cage.
Yeah.
Because you think that's her head, and meanwhile her head's over here.
Yeah.
You know? So just a friendly tip. It can't hurt to have a flashlight. Even if you have lights on the cage, the flashlight will infinitely help you find her.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to
I've been using
know.
my phone. I should get a dedicated flashlight.
Yeah, and honestly, you can use the phone to a certain extent, but for whatever reason, an actual like LED, a good LED flashlight, the scalation, the skin is shows up different than the leaves. I think it has something to do with the leaf litter, providing you're using real leaves. The leaf litter, because it's like a matte texture, or maybe because there's like a waxiness that's gone to it, it doesn't reflect. It almost absorbs that light. So like her skin will pop out, if that makes sense. Try it.
Oh, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I've done the phone thing way too many times, and that was not a good idea.
Can you imagine being unfortunate enough to step on like a big gaboon in country?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In the
It's
middle
wild,
of nowhere,
man.
just getting absolutely nailed by one.
Well, it's like Johan Morer did a whole like amateur study on that with the East Africans they have down in like Limpopo region and stuff in southern Mozambique, and
Is
like
that in the book?
Swaziland. What's that?
Is that in the book?
I don't know. I don't think so. I barely got into that book, man. I need to.
Shame on you.
I know. So they did this like amateur study, and basically shy of like a human actually stepping on it, I think it was like 92% of every time a human stepped on an East African gaboon, it just ran away.
Oh.
But then you go to the West African ones, and it's like, no, they died.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. I'd love to get more data on that.
Scary Larry.
Scary Larry. I love it. I love it. That's good. That's good.
Has that
I
been your
really-
experience overall with those between the Westerns and the Easterns?
Well, so Jan told me that I'm kissed by death because I've only had a pair of Easterns for a little while. I had some Easterns that came through strictly many moons ago, and they acted like West Africans. They were just pissy and striky, and then you'd leave them alone for a while and they'd chill out. And then the pair of Easterns that I had were fairly pissed off, very reminiscent of puff adders. But meanwhile, he tells me that East Africans are just puppy dog placid, like the nicest viper you've ever worked with. And that's why they use them for a lot of their viper training, because they are so chill and placid. Meanwhile, the West Africans, not so much. So
I think I'd rather learn with the West though. No,
oh, for sure.
I don't.
And I'm sorry, but like a baby or juvenile West African gaboon is a great trainer animal. You know what I mean? Because it's short enough and manageable enough that it's not gonna, if it does lash out irrationally, you know, it's not the end of the world, but providing you don't get bit. But in terms of like learning how to double hook, learning how to single hook at an angle, learning hook placement in your hand and forearm, like all that, they're a great training animal for that. That's why I really like having at least one West African gaboon in a collection for training purposes. But yeah, the Wests are far according to Johan, far more pissy than the Easts.
Huh. Yeah. Larry sounds that way. We need a Loretta, I told him, but he's
Oh, nice. Nice.
We'll get there, maybe.
yeah.
Well, if I ever produce, I'll send you a Loretta.
There you
Sounds good.
go.
Nice.
I mean, Larry would be a good breeder. He's really pretty. He's got all those subtle pinks in him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
when he gets up
Any
to size, I mean,
blue?
if you still haven't found a male,
Is it blue?
no
Blue in
blue.
the face? No? Okay.
No.
Not that I've seen, unfortunately, but he's real pink along his
Excellent.
sides.
Excellent.
Just big old African copperheads.
That's it. That's it.
So the on the topic of Africa, you're into Cordillus.
Yeah, so I've got Tropidosternum.
My man.
I always liked the Cordillus species. I mean, I would see the Cataphractus, and that's still like a dream lizard of mine.
Welcome to the club,
somebody
bro.
in the U.S. could ever produce a good amount of them, I would purchase some.
Oh,
but
they are. They're pumping them out, bro. But the problem is that they're social and communal, and no one wants to sell them. They just want to have a colony of them, which is what you and I would do.
Somebody needs to
if we
sell
had-
me like 6 of them.
Yeah.
And then I just randomly saw the Tropidosternums at a show, and I picked up a pair of captive born babies.
Sure.
That somebody had at a reptile show that they had gotten, wild caught female in, and she had given birth.
Nice.
I really enjoyed those. I thought they were super cool, and I started seeing them a little bit more at the shows. People would have them in the deli dishes. Have like 12 or 15 of them in one deli dish.
Nice.
And I had heard, I don't know, through the grapevine that they were going to stop importing them, which I don't think is the case. But when I heard that, I was like, I've got some money to burn. I might as well just pick up a big group of them. So I ended up buying, 9 or 10 at a show. And then through the pet store, I had contacts with some wholesalers they were selling some B grade animals missing, hands and tail tips and stuff like that for really cheap. So I picked up a few from there. And I threw them in a cage together, and I feed them crickets. I really don't pay a whole lot of attention to them other than if they're fighting amongst each other.
That's the best way to keep them, man.
They seem to regulate themselves pretty good. I actually have them in with a Burmese mountain tortoise.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they like to ride around on his back.
That's super cool.
But I've only hatched, or not really hatched, but I've only had like 7 babies.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things you just kind of see when you're just checking over everything. You're like, oh crap, there's some babies in here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't have to worry about eggs or nothing like that. They just show up.
I mean, dude, that means you're legit doing it perfect.
Yeah,
it does. Think about it, man. You're everyone's fat and happy, and they're making babies. Like, you're doing it right, bro. It's great.
I don't even know what sex ratios I had. I mean, I struggle at telling the sexes of them. If I really look, I can see, but I just threw them all together, and I keep them fat and happy, like you said. And they give me some babies.
That's great, man. That's great. Here so they are bringing them in from time to time. It's looking like, especially Mozambique shipments, it's like every 3 or 4 years. But I was lucky enough to get to cherry pick the last shipment that came through like 3 years ago. And I love this photo.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. That's a lot of them.
Wow.
Those are Cataphractus?
No, those are Tropidosternum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what's cool is I not to brag, but I got to go through them. So like I cherry picked a couple really good looking girls, a couple good looking boys, because they come in, they're just covered in dirt and soil, and they still got shed. But I wound up getting like 4 or 5 Barraducci out of them as well. Just because when you're a local catcher picking them out of a tree, they're not looking at what's what.
Yeah.
But there was Barraducci in there, so I wound up getting Barraducci out of a Tropidosternum shipment, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I got 1 Barraducci when I ordered from that wholesaler.
Oh, they sent it on accident?
Yeah. Well, no, they just didn't know.
Oh,
Like
cool.
that was an armadillo lizard to them.
Yeah.
So I found him a good home because I didn't want to keep mix the species together, and I didn't want to go search for
Yeah.
another project. So
Sure. That's cool, man. It's cool you get to have one for a little while. Did you ever get Jan Riesing's book?
is
It's the black cover from Chimera.
Yeah, I do the Cordelis book.
Yes.
Yep, I have that, and I
Dude,
perused through it a little bit.
it's
I
the
like,
Cordelis Bible.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's so
man.
many different species of Cordelis out there, and they're all just super awesome. I wish we
Yeah.
could get our hands on some more, but
I know. There's a handful of guys doing some like West Cape stuff, like Cordelis and Cordelis Niger. And then there was another guy that brought in a handful of crags, the Cape
Yeah.
crag.
they were
But
selling
man,
for
they're
ridiculous prices.
ridiculous money, man. Crazy moolah. So dare I say I will not be venturing into that genre again, but I'm really happy. I don't have trouble discernment anymore, but I'm glad you have like a cool colony going and getting babies, and that's so fun, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're just cool little lizards. I mean, most people would pass them up, and I gave them a shot, and I really enjoy them.
Yeah, man. That's great.
They're super fun to just watch. They're just ridiculous.
There's always something going on in the cage. There's always drama in there.
The cartoon lizards, man.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, and like is it matriarchal where the girl's in charge? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, matriarchal. So they are matriarchal, and you see some baddies
Yeah.
going at it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I when I mixed the two groups that I got together, it was interesting to watch all the interactions. I mean, I had to pull some out and reintroduce them later because I mean, some of those they would go to town on each other.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool seeing those kinds of interactions and knowing that that's what happens out in the wild.
Yeah, for sure. That's great, man. I love it.
So we gotta talk about these Muelleri.
Oh yeah.
These are freaking cool. I know nothing about these. I saw them in your Instagram. I was like, what the hell is that? I'm pulling it up right now because these things are freaking sweet.
Yeah. You got to screen share them, man. Cool.
I am.
Yeah,
Like,
those
that's
are
just wild.
Yeah, look at that thing, dude. Talk about a cartoon lizard.
yeah, for real.
So cool, man.
They're also fun. They're just ridiculous.
Are they as spastic as they look?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
like a eel with legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they're looking all cute and pretty, just sitting there on their cork bark. But I know that, like, the minute that camera got closer, it was just pandemonium.
Yeah, they're a really majorly fossorial species.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean they're built for swimming through the dirt.
Yeah, I mean that would explain the body shape for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slickness.
I picked these guys up. I saw them. I don't know. I saw them on some reptile influencers page. I probably Herp Time or something. And he was showing off these really cool lizards, and I was super interested in them. So I did some digging, and I ended up on Morph Market or Fauna or whatever. And I found somebody selling them for, I think I picked up that trio for $750 or something like that, just on a whim. Knew next to nothing about them. I had contacted a couple people that had them for a couple months because they really came in, at least the first time that I saw it, in 2023. That was the first time I had seen them. But I mean, Tom Crutchfield said he had seen some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody really knew anything about them other than the fact that they were fossorial and they ate earthworms.
Okay.
Where are they native to?
They're Papua in Indonesia. Okay. I don't know exactly where these ones came from.
That's so cool.
I remember Mark O'Shea was talking in your episode with him when he was talking about the can't remember that one species of elapid that's endemic to Papua, the white one,
Small-eyed.
small
Yeah.
eye. He was saying that when they were searching through the cocoa husk piles, they would find Sphenomorphus in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I purchased them just to see what would happen. I left them in the back room of the shop that I worked at for like 6 months, and basically, I wouldn't say neglected, but I didn't pay them any attention.
Right, right.
I would moisten. I kept them in a 20-gallon long, all three of them, with about 6 inches of dirt and just cork flats on top.
Nice.
I would wet one side of the cage just to make sure that it was a little more moist than the other side. I had a bowl of water, and then I dumped 12 earthworms in there a week.
Okay.
And I didn't bother them. It just kind of got left alone. I'd pull them out about once a month just to make sure everybody's doing all right. And then after about 6 months, I got a 4x2x2 and filled it with 10 or 12 inches of substrate, put all the plants in there, put them in there, put some lighting in there, and just, I would just leave them alone.
I mean, it looks like you're doing a hell of a
Yeah.
job, man.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they look content.
Have you seen them eat or no?
No, yeah. They come
Okay.
out now for food. I've had them. We're going on a year and a half now. And like for the first year, I really didn't ever see them. I would see a head here and there, and I'd see like a portion of a tail. And then as soon as I open the cage, they'd disappear in the dirt. But after about a year, and with the plants growing in, I think that helped a lot. But I started seeing them out. Like they started realizing that when the doors opened, usually there'd be food.
Yeah.
So they started coming out and just coming up to the door, and I would offer them an earthworm for my fingers, and they take it, and they disappear and
Wow.
go eat, and then they come back when they wanted some more.
That's so
and so
great, man.
every time I open the door to that cage, they're coming out.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, that is.
We have
It's
Australian
a lot
white
like
tree frogs in
socializing.
there.
A lot like socializing monitors.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Everything's on their terms. They're still. I mean, they don't want to be touched. They're still really spazzy if they see my hand go over them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to figure out that they're pretty territorial, and I think, and I've heard the theory from some other people, but the coloration on spars is determining on their sex. It's like the real bright red ones on the back are males, and the more dull colored ones are females.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's true, I have 2.1. I had a little bit of trouble with one of the biggest male in there, like beating out the others for food, because the other two started to get kind of skinny.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started seeing that triangular tail base, and I was like, oh crap. So I really all I did was just throw more worms in there, and everybody's starting to be healthier again. I think it was just eating everything before the other two could get them.
Yeah. Are you doing anything to? Yeah, right. Are you doing anything to, like, you can't dust worms because I feel like it would just dry them out, but is there any kind of nutrient or just lighting or what?
So I offer them like a 5.0 UVB bulb. I figured that's sufficient to get down to the ground, because I mean they don't climb or anything, and they disappear in the substrate whenever they want. I do dust the worms occasionally if they're out. I don't typically do a whole lot of supplementation. They probably get dusted stuff once a month.
Okay. You say when they're out, you mean when the lizards are out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When they're out and about, because if sometimes I just dump worms in there and I leave. I feel like the calcium powder would get messed up.
Yeah, it would just get lost. Yeah.
Lisa asked if they're egg layers.
I think so. Nobody's really figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a video on YouTube of some guy in Indonesia, and I had subtitles, so that I don't know if the translation was any good, but he said they are egg layers. Now, I mean, am I ever going to find eggs? Probably digging around. So maybe if my husbandry is good enough, I'll just see some babies sometime, but nobody really knows anything about them as far as producing them.
Wow, that's super cool, man. I know they're not snakes, but you are officially an honorary member in Dirt Snake Mafia because that's like too cool, man. Too cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing the stiletto stuff, and those are super cool animals.
Dude, I wish I had your success, man, with them. Just it's been a really rough road, but
I mean, with things that aren't established, I mean, it's what you're in for.
yeah. It's
a tough pill to swallow, but I mean, to get them here and get them proliferating, you got to go through all those trials and tribulations.
Yeah, and it sucks because, like, I mean, you did it right. You're doing it right. You know, you left them alone. You gave them what they wanted, and conditions are ideal, and you're acclimating them, and they're trusting you more, and that's just fantastic, man. But I feel like with the stilettos, everyone who keeps them, it's all for venom production, and it's all super sterile, and they're just tube feeding them liquid, and no one keeps them naturalistic, and that's why I think it's been rough. But yeah. Let's not back to really cool rainbow lizards.
We have Australian white tree frogs in there with them, and there's one that's special needs.
Oh yeah, Skippy. He leans to the right and can't jump.
Poor
and they
Skippy.
just absolutely pummel him.
Yeah, they kind of bulldoze over him when it's food time.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I try to get him up out of the way, and we have to tongue feed him to make sure he gets enough food.
Poor Skippy. Yeah,
And
they're
you have
ruthless.
Burmese mountain tortoises, my man.
Yeah, well, I had 2 of them. One of them got stolen.
Oh,
Really?
I was keeping him in with the little redfoots while I went away I was visiting Oklahoma or something. And I threw them in there just because I wanted to make sure they were getting fed while I was away. And I just left them in there because they were doing great. And then one day some guys came in and figured out how to jimmy the lock to the cage and took it out, stole it.
Man, fucking
So
savages.
We've got the one Burmese. His name's Frank.
And I don't know if you guys watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but
Of course.
all the
Armadillo lizards. It's Frank and the gang.
gang.
Nice. That's awesome. Frank
Yes.
and the gang.
Frank
How many monitor species are you working with? I saw
that's
the spiny neck,
cool to
and then
talk
I
about.
saw Kim's.
So we've got 4 species at the house right now. We've got 3.1 Kimberleys, a I'm going to say probable female Asian water monitor, an unknown sex black roughneck, and then I've got 9 juvenile spiny necks.
Wow, that's a hell of a group, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of food.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I love the roughnecks, man. If I had this, if space and time were no object, I think I'd probably be trying my hand at the roughnecks. I just think those. I don't know what that is about them. Just the look of them, I think, is just really.
They don't look like anything else out there. They've got that really bird tail.
Yeah.
And they're super cool. I mean, she bought him.
That's mine.
His name's Atari. Bought him at a show, and he's really grown on me. I would personally like to have a project with them, but space and time. Like you said, it's just,
yeah.
Once we get into a more permanent location and can expand a little bit.
He's definitely more on the aloof side. Everything's on his terms way, but he is definitely gotten more social and has improved, and he interacts, and he's just so neat. But I want to touch his deck all the time, and I just want to feel the bumpies.
Yeah.
Not having it. But yeah, I was like, all right, he's got his monitors. I was like, what? Just trying to think. I was like, what interests me? And I was perusing and stuff, and then I came across the Ruticolous, and I was like, that is cool. I like that. I don't know when I'll see one, because we hadn't really seen any at the expos. And then we went to one, and there he was, and it was one of my favorite people that I buy from. And he was like, I have a cage at the house. You can bring him.
Nice.
He's like, we can get them all set up, ready to go.
Just enabling each other. I
Yo, that's a problem.
It's bad.
love it. Love it.
No. He's like, well, he wanted to be spiny necks. He wanted more spiny necks, all the spiny necks.
The spiny necks are a species that everybody has those species that when they see for the first time on the internet, you're like, I have to have that. Like I have to work with that. And that was the spinulosus for me. I saw a picture of one and it looked like, I mean, they're like budget crocodile monitors.
Dude, they're dinosaurs, man.
And they just have I don't know how to describe it, but their heads and the way their eyes are just makes it like super velociraptor for me.
Yeah.
And I had to have them. I had a big female a long time ago. I had her for about 1.5 years. She was my first big lizard. I had Kimberly's before this, but I picked her up just on a whim. For about 1.5 years, she did really, really good. And then one day I woke up, she was real lethargic, laying on the floor of the cage, and so I called my vet and I got an appointment scheduled. And then the following morning, I found her deceased.
Damn.
I wish I had gotten a necropsy done of her because I'm fairly certain that it was probably egg binding. Because that seems to be a very it seems to be a real big killer of female monitors, not giving proper nesting sites. People don't realize that even if they're not with a male, some females will still continue to go through that reproductive cycle. And if they don't fertilize their ova, they get it's actually harder on them than if they were to just lay fertile eggs. And I didn't give her any nesting at all. And I'm pretty sure that's why she had passed away. That was a real big hit for me because I put a lot of time and effort into that lizard and got her to where she was mostly sociable.
Dude, look how cute that thing is, man.
That's gorgeous.
Those are when the original 4 came in. Super awesome.
How big do the adults get in comparison to like water monitors?
They stay small compared to water monitors. My female, she was
size?
a little smaller than that, even.
But bigger than black roughnecks?
Smaller than that. Like I would say, like they're a heftier blue tree monitor.
Okay.
They don't get super duper big. They're still a sizable lizard, and they need a lot of space.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So after that female died on me, I decided I was going to get some more. I picked up a couple babies at a show a few months after she had passed. They did not do well for me at all. I brought them home, got them all set up. One baby died after 2 days with me. And then the other one was fine for about 4 months. And then I woke up one day and he couldn't use his back legs.
Oh, geez.
And he passed away before I could even get into the vet. I mean, I called her and had it scheduled, but he passed away like a couple days after that. Those are really tiny babies that came in. What's that?
Something that can get shipped like that and, spend weeks in less than stellar conditions, but then it finally gets to, like its final home, and it just, within a couple days just crashes. And it's like, how are you going to survive all of that just to crash? It just, that I always found that so strange.
Yeah. It's just, it really, really upset me. Cause I really, really, really like these lizards. Fast forward about 1.5 years. I had around in October, I was moving and stuff, and I had a malfunction with one of my racks and ended up losing 23 snakes.
Oh, geez.
And so I was really upset from that, and decided to just peruse one of the wholesaler websites, saw that they had spiny necks available at a decent price, and decided to buy all 4 of them.
Cool.
And that's the original 4 you're seeing right there on the screen. I picked them up, and they came in, and they were, in good condition. Got them home, started feeding them, pumping them full of crickets, and they just put on weight, and they've grown and gotten more and more social.
That's awesome.
They are little freaks. They'll be like, everything's fine. This is great. Okay. And just spaz out of control. But yeah.
Dude, they're such dinosaurs, man.
They are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
dinosaurs.
are.
Smitty, can you go back to the picture of the 3 in his hand? Yeah, just look at the color, man, and the patterning. It almost looks
Like a Nile
like,
monitor pattern on a like a roughneck body.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say it looks like Aboriginal art. You know how like Aboriginal art has like the dots?
Yeah.
That looks so cool, man. They're such great little lizards.
That's how we kind of identify everybody from each other, is
Oh, really?
just kind of like the patterning, because everybody's is a little bit different on the back. So we have one like Kuiper, he's named after the asteroid belt because that's what his look like. And then we have one named Happy because he's got a smiley face on his back.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're fun. And the original 4 are really developing into just super, super cool, super fun. Just ridiculous guys. I don't know. They're really fun because now we can see each of their personalities. And I don't know, like we've talked about housing them together like that. And we do think that it probably just seemed a lot of benefits from.
Yeah, I have a theory that raising them together gets them to be more social with each other, and might make it easier for breeding in the future.
I believe
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I've heard stories from some breeders, especially in mangroves, because they're very similar to mangroves in a way, but also completely different. But pairing mangroves can be a really perilous thing, because they're very territorial, and they can rip each other to shreds pretty easily. So I'm trying a thing where I'm raising every group that I get together, just to see if that'll help in the future. So they're not like, when I throw another lizard in their solo cage, they're not freaking out because
they're not completely unfamiliar.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Marge, I haven't seen you in a dog's age.
Yeah, so we're raising them together, planning out cage builds for the future. I would like to get to a point where everybody's in their own individual cage. Just in case things do happen, I can separate everybody if needed.
Yeah.
And still trying to figure out what size they don't seem to be as arboreal as I originally thought they were. They tend to, when they freak out, they tend to go down and run around the bottom of the cage rather than like get up high. So I think I'm going to end up doing a longer cage rather than higher cage for them. I've been following Ryan McVeigh. He does a little bit of work with the spinulosus. He's keeping adult pairs in 6x2x2s, and I think that's a pretty good size. I'd like to go a little bigger because they'll use all that space.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to figure out the quirks and intricacies of this species. I mean, it's a species that I really, really enjoy, and I don't think they won't go anywhere. They'll be with me, and I'm trying to get more, but somebody's saying no.
We have to be responsible adults sometimes.
Yeah.
Jeez, the
Overrated.
voice of reason. Gosh.
But I'd really like to crack a code on them. There's only been a handful of people that have ever produced them in captivity. And I would just like to be somebody that can provide that to the market.
Yeah, hell yeah. Have you seen our friend Skylar who does Beach Throw Passions?
Yeah, I've been following his stuff.
Dude, those enclosures he's got with the mesh and the reflective material
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
tents.
Yeah, dude, I feel like that
Oh.
maybe not your size you have now, but in a couple of years, I feel like that could really work well with them.
Yeah, I bought a tent way back when just to try it out. I don't know where it went. Because a couple of years ago that was sacrilegious and
Right.
Yeah.
reptiles and tents. But now that
Yeah.
there's people are doing it. I thought about that, and it seems to be a pretty cost-effective way to maintain larger
For sure.
animals.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them because I wondered how thick they were. Because I'd imagine, especially something arboreal, if they were able to sort of latch onto it, they'd probably tear it up, I would think. But surely there's some sort of thickness and insulation to them to kind of keep them.
I mean, I know people are keeping full-size tegus and savanna monitors in them, and with some success.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like when the enclosure is that large, it's not the same as like putting one of these baby spinies in like a chameleon flight cage. Like they're gonna rub their face on it, they're gonna scratch their nails and break their nails off, and like it's different. I feel like in those tent scenarios, there's so much decor in there, and there's so much volume inside it for them to explore and peruse that they're less likely they're not gonna rub their face on the screen all day out of boredom. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, man. I had my Ackies for a while. These were next on the list of stuff to get, and one day I would like to.
I think the Kimberleys are the coolest of the dwarfs.
Yeah.
Have you kept Pilbs?
I have not had any Pilberensis. They were on the list, and then COVID hit and their prices skyrocketed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll end up getting some when their prices come down as people breed, more and more people breed them.
Right.
I would love to have some. We had one come into the shop that his last home was just not good, so he's all bent out of shape with MBD and missing toes and missing a tail tip and all kinds of stuff.
Well, on a lighter note, that substrate is gorgeous. What is that?
That is the Exoterra desert stone sand. That's the Outback Red version.
Really? And it has all that like granulated rock and stuff in there?
Yeah, it's super duper cool substrate. If you get it wet, it'll hold its shape, like the excavator clay.
Okay.
I like that stuff a lot. It's very soft. I had a lesson learned with the baby Kimberleys about using play sand.
Yeah.
And that's a no-no. Because the play sand, it doesn't look like it, doesn't feel like it to us, but it's very sharp.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if the grains get into their eyes, it cuts their eyes up, gives them an eye infection that goes into their brain, and they die.
Really?
I lost 4 or 5 babies to that, and before I realized what was happening.
Wow.
So I found out the play sand's a no-go, but this Exoterra desert stone stuff is very, very awesome. It's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It looks great. And you don't worry about like, is that a water bowl there?
Yeah.
You don't worry about like, so for example, with some of the excavator clay, I never used it with smaller lizards, like especially juvenile stuff, because I was afraid that if they spilled the water or they see how that one just ran through the water dish in my brain, because I'm neurotic, the lizard or the gecko would go through the water bowl, get water on its digits, touch the excavator clay. Now the finger turns to stone, cuts off the circulation, and the finger falls off. And I've only ever used it with my adult Gila because I know it's not going to happen like that. She's so big and clunky that if it got stuck on her finger, she could just wiggle her fingers and it would flake off. But have you noticed anything like that with this stuff?
No, not at all. I mean, it does stick to their toes.
Okay.
But once it dries,
it's so soft it just flakes off.
Yeah, it'll flake off their toes, and they're active enough that it's not an issue.
Yeah, they're not
Um,
sitting still like a gecko per se. They're constantly on the move.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I did see it on their toes a lot, but it never ended up being an issue as far as cutting off circulation and stuff.
Okay, cool, excellent. That
Have
makes me feel good.
Have you ever had any issues as far as like stuck shed on the tails with these? Because I was something that I'm
So-
told fairly regularly, especially with like young ones, to keep an eye out because that was there's so much tail and it gets so thin. You know.
Personally, I've never had any issues with stuck shed on the Kimberleys. I started out of the gate offering like a humid hide for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of one of the things I pride myself on is the lizards I've raised up. Everybody's got their toes.
Nice. Look
So
at those
I
shots.
just offer a humid place for them to get away, and it seems to cover everything. And hydration seems to be a really big key in that as well. I just make sure everybody gets fresh water. The Kimberleys I don't worry about too often. I give them fresh water a couple times a week because they get it dirty. But just the humid hide seems to solve all those issues. I was really worried about that when I first got into them, but it's been a non-issue since.
Nice. Yeah, Mike Gillen says there's a few colors of the desert stone you can get, and it would work great with a pictocaster or a sub-oc naturalistic setup. Mike Gillen, you're reading my mind.
Use it for the Chuck Wallas.
Yeah, we use it for our Chuck Wallas.
You
too.
guys got
Oh,
Chucks
you have Chuck
too?
Wallace?
Yeah. We
Throw
have the
those
best
pictures
Chuck
up.
Walla in all the land. Krusty.
Dude, let's see it. Krusty the Chuck.
Do you have any photos of Krusty?
I don't know.
I have stuff of Krusty on mine. I don't know if you do. That's Atari. There's all the monitors.
That's Delilah, the water monitor.
Nice. Look at that tongue. Get in trouble with that tongue.
It's the new family.
Yeah, right?
There we go. All right, where's the crust?
What a great,
nope,
what a,
that's
what a great name.
Where'd he go? There he is.
There he is.
Krusty.
Oh, he looks good, man. Looks good.
He's what they call, I guess, a granite.
Okay.
I don't know the locality where they're from. But he's super cool. I picked him up from somebody kind of local to me that has a contact in Arizona that sends him Chuck Wallas. Krusty's a wild caught adult male, and he is just the most laid back lizard that we have at the house.
That's awesome.
He's always asking to come out and hang out with you, and
that's great. That's so
checking
great.
stuff out. My captive hatched little guy Edgar is not at all friendly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't want anything to do with you.
Does he do the puff up balloon thing?
Yep.
Nice.
There's actually a customer of the pet shop that I used to work at. She actually produced some Chuck Wallas last year and this year. And one of the things about the balloon stuff is a lot of people, when you have babies, you like to put them in some like shallow water so they can get hydrated and stuff like that.
Sure.
Well, when I contacted this lady who had bred them before, she said, do not put them in water.
Really?
When they hatch out, because they'll puff up, they'll inflate themselves, and they'll suck up water and drown.
Oh, wow.
So that's, I guess, not so fun fact about baby Chuck Wallas.
I would have never thought. That's fantastic. I'm glad you shared it. That's awesome. I know we want to go to this next picture of this white-eyed, gorgeous specimen, but Smitty, back on Alyssa's page, was that the Thrassops in your hand?
Yeah.
You got to go back to that shot if you can, Smitty. I want to see that guy.
I'm trying to.
I know it's going.
You're asking a lot. My old MacBook here.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, look at that snake.
Isn't he just the best?
Those eyes are just giant. I'm going to eat every bird I can find eyeballs.
So when we picked him up, it was my snake. I was going to name him. And the boys had decided that they had already named him. His name is Balls. short for Mr.
Balls?
Big Eyeballs.
Okay.
But no, so we got him. When I first picked him up, he had just
He came from a importer.
mm,
I had bought stuff from him in the past, and this stuff turned out to be okay. But he had a exposed lower jawbone, and the starts of a respiratory infection when we picked him up. So we treated those things, and he was on the mend, and then I was doing some mite treatments because I had a boa come in with some mites, and he had
neurological.
we think he had a poor reaction to the mite spray, and had some neurological episodes before he passed on, sadly.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was very alarming because I was looking at him and I check on everybody every day, and he just looked like he was zoning out, just staring off into space. And I kind of pulled him out, and I was just watching him, and he was sitting upright like you saw in that video, and he just completely collapsed in my hands for about 5 seconds, and then came back to. And it was just. It was very alarming, but that's what I can think of as far as my previous experience in the vet clinic. I was a vet tech for 8 years, and I kind of noticed that animals that have, I would say, like more prominent features tend to be a lot more sensitive to things. And this was just an observation that I made while I was at the clinic.
Right.
And I think, I don't know my theory, but the increased size in his eyes, maybe he was just a bit more sensitive to different things. And so, yeah, that was very unexpected. So I really hope to get some more Thrassops, those guys, because he's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of some species like Pituophis being more sensitive to some of the mite sprays and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Atari, looking handsome. I see you on there. He's just, I mean, we hardly saw him. He was very huffy and not happy to be in our presence when we first brought him home. He was really good then. And then as soon as he got in his enclosure, he was like, I'm not talking to these people ever again. And then now he comes out and he'll like climb up onto my arm. Sometimes he checks out my face and gets a little too personal. He's cool. He's very cool.
Very cool.
They just remind me of vultures.
Yeah.
Like this species in particular. Every time I see them, I think of buzzards and stuff.
Yeah, they just got such a distinct head, and their nostrils. I don't know if you've ever noticed, their nostrils are not where you think they would be. They're further back on the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, closer to the eye.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like right here.
Yeah.
That's strange.
So cool. And then I do have a video of a Savu, I think, that's down there.
Yeah, because that's
there he
a
is.
segue.
Yeah. It's just a really quick video, but that's what's staring at you all the time when you walk into
That's what they do.
How are yours? Are they? I've heard so many mixed things about them. Like I've had some people say that they were awesome, they loved them. I've had some people say they were just bitey and horrible.
Well, I personally love the Savus, and they are never going anywhere. That's again one of those species that when I saw for the first time and found out about it, like I was like, I have to get my hands on them. And that was back in 2019 when you couldn't find them at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you still can't. Like they used to be fairly easy to get a hold of, and then they just fell off the face of the earth.
A lot of success in the past couple of years with them, and they're starting to become more and more prominent.
Mm-hmm.
But I love them to death. They are bitey. It's just how they are. The female's okay. The male, if you disturb him too much when he grabs a hold of a prey item, will turn his attention away from the prey item to strike at you for the next 2 hours. Anytime you walk past the cage.
Wow.
But they're super awesome snakes.
Yeah, that's
they're
been
just
a
one of
dream
my
species of
favorites.
mine for a long time.
I would highly recommend it.
One day, they're on that bucket list.
The prices are coming down. I saw some posted up on Morph Market last week for $750 a piece, which is way better than what they were.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. We used to get them both farm babies and adults back at Underground, probably 2007, 2008, like that time frame. And I think adults were like 125 and babies were like $75. And I mean, knock on wood, I never had one remotely be bitey or mean or twitchy or anything. They were like the perfect pet python. And we used to show them to people all the time, like, look, this thing is crazy. It's neon orange, and then it grows up and it's got white eyes and it doesn't get gigantic. Like, this is the perfect pet python. And people were like, nah, it's brown. Nah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And we all
That's
slept
cool,
on
man.
it.
Where's the balls at?
Yeah, exactly. Where's that one that's half
yeah,
white?
where's the banana
Where's
ball
the
at?
pastel?
Yeah. Yeah, I want that one that's half white.
I've really enjoyed them. I have heard stories, like you said, of them just being really, really bad. And that's all I've heard, actually. I've never heard of them being good at all. But I mean, I wish I could go back to 2010 when they were $60 a piece and just pick them up all day.
Does yours go off food?
Mine do not go off food in the summer. I haven't noticed a trend. I don't feed super heavy, so I've never seen them go off food. They're always very, very food motivated in my experience.
Dylas. That's his first snake right there.
That's my first snake, the one that started it all.
He has a tattoo of her on his leg.
That's awesome.
Is the person that produced her still doing stuff with carpets?
I believe so. So when I bought her, I was told that she was produced by Hardin Herpetologica.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Trace.
I hit him up a couple years after I bought her because I bought her from a pet store.
Okay.
If he had ever sold to this pet store in the past, and he said I might have, I can't tell you for sure. Which I mean led me to a dead end, but I'm glad he didn't just say yes, and he was truthful with me about it at least. So if she is a Hardin Herpetologica line, then yeah, I think he's still producing them.
Yeah, I think he is too. Yeah, he's got some awesome short tails and stuff too.
Yeah, rainbows.
Rainbows too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you got the rhino shirt, but you don't have any rhinos? You got rhinos?
He has one.
I did have rhinos. I had a 3.3.
Yeah.
And that was one of the projects that got hit hard when I had that malfunction. I lost 2.3 of them, and have one male, and he's the one that had just given me problems with skin issues, and he's got no horn. He was the sole survivor of that.
Kiwi.
That's my
I'm also
Indian
super
ringneck
jealous
kiwi.
because I've wanted a freaking parrot forever, and Katie
That
will not
one-
let me get one.
She's jealous.
They're a lot of work.
Me. Yeah.
I have Kiwi. She'll be with me forever. If I get rid of her, I think she'll die. But I also have Solomon, who's a collector's parrot, and I think I bit off more than I could chew with him. And now that I'm not working at the pet store and can't take him to work, he gets bored at home. So I think I have to find him a home that he gets a lot more attention than I can give him, unfortunately.
He also bosses a Great Dane around.
I believe it.
Has the Great Dane, her tail's tucked between the legs when she sees him.
That's cool, man.
They're just so cool. I love the fact that just like the intelligence of them, and I find parrots just awesome.
They're super awesome animals. It just their intelligence makes them a lot of work.
Yeah. I always felt bad for people that would get them and then they just sit in their cage 24/7 and never
Yeah.
sort of get interacted with and
Right.
start making noise. They're like, put the cover on it. It's like, man, you're
Both of
like
mine
literally
have-
driving that thing insane. Like it's gonna,
Yeah.
it's losing its mind, literally. Like just
Both of my birds have 24/7 out of cage access. They can come and go as they please. He gets down and walks around the house. Kiwi, the Indian ringneck, she just sits on her cage. She doesn't like to be too active.
No. Too neurotic.
But Solomon will follow me around the house. He'll go into the reptile room and then get upset that Delilah, the water monitor, is trying to eat him.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
again,
you mentioned,
one day.
Yeah, right. You mentioned you got cave dwellers?
Yeah. Well, I had a pair of cave dwellers. I had more than a pair. I had a trio, and that was one of the species that ended up getting that hit when I had the malfunction.
Yeah.
I had a pair. I paired them up. She got egg bound. Luckily, passed all the eggs. And then we went on a trip to Oklahoma last month. And I came home. I had a buddy just checking on stuff, but I came home and found out my male had just passed away.
Oh, jeez.
Which sucks because he was one of the ones we took to the hospital to show everybody, and people fell in love with him.
He
Nice.
was super cool.
So I've got a big female. I'll be getting a male here shortly. Because DM Exotics is bringing in a big shipment of stuff, so I ordered a wild caught male through him.
Cool.
Just because I want to have unrelated blood. I had some of the Borneo cave dwellers, the
Nice.
Grabowskis.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All of my adults again died when I had that malfunction, and I've got 3 babies left. I've got a 1.2, so I'm raising them up to try to get some production out of them. Let's see what else do we have at the house? I've got the Yunnan mountain rats.
Oh yeah.
I like my pythons. I like my Asian rat snakes, as far as the snakes go. And I've got some random Pituophis here and there, and some speckled king snakes and boas. We've got some longicatas and some
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Peruvian
awesome.
BCCs.
Very cool.
We've got 4 female Kendoi paulsoni.
Yeah.
Because males are really hard to come by. I'm finding out.
Mm-hmm.
The Solomon Island tree boa, the Brony australis.
Mm-hmm.
We got one of those guys. We have a Halmahera ground boa. I've got some olive pythons, Australian olives, not Papuan olives.
Yeah. They're a
Food
little
motivated.
yeah.
That's the word for them.
Phil
Psycho.
has some Australian waters.
Oh yeah,
They're pretty nice. He got those at Daytona a couple of years ago. I remember when he picked those up. Man, the iridescence on those things is insane.
yeah, they're super cool. That's just another one of those snakes that everybody thinks is just a brown snake. I'd like to have
Yeah,
some,
you
but
definitely you don't appreciate them until you see them in person.
yeah, I think I'd like to try my hand at doing some of the Papuan water python stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a cool little locality-esque type of thing to get into.
Are there any projects, both on the venomous front and non, that you're both wanting to get into, either together or separately? What's on the hit list? What's on the radar?
The Candoya thing is a combined effort, I think, as far as the Paulsoni, because I got mine and I was like, this is the coolest snake ever. I got her when she was a teeny tiny little shoestring of a baby, and then I brought her home, and then I did the irresponsible thing and got her before I really knew just how difficult that.
Yeah, what was your process for that? Because I've seen them at Daytona in previous years on tables of importers for $35 a piece, and I've been tempted to just be like, I'm going to try it out. I know it's going to be a pain. I know it's going to be an uphill battle, but they look interesting. I've never kept any Candoya, so I don't know. But
yeah,
what was your?
I was like, all right, where I read up on everything and I was like, okay, well, we'll see. I'll offer her a day old pinky, frozen thawed day old pinky. We'll see what happens. I gave it to her. She used it as a pillow. So the next time around, a lot of people were saying that they basically soak their day old pinkies in mackerel juice, and they found that as a good alternative to try and avoid feeding anoles and stuff. So
Right.
I let it sit in mackerel juice for about 24 hours in the fridge, and then I offered it to her, and she immediately took it. No
Really?
hesitation. And so I fed her that way for probably 3 or 4 meals, and then after that I just kind of offered her a pinky by itself without soaking, and she just took it. So that now she's just a food monster. I feed her and she's immediately back, and she's like, all right, more.
Yeah, that's from what I've heard. It seems like it's kind of night or day. Like they're either not eating at all, or they're eating anytime you offer it. They're not refusing.
Oh yeah, she no hesitation. She's awesome. She's grown. It's crazy because she's still like small, but she's grown so much from what she originally was. And I felt like she was just gonna slip through my hands because
they're so small. Tiny. It's insane. Yeah, so tiny.
Yeah, and now she's getting kind of squeezy when she wraps, which is one of the things we noticed with them is they're squeezy when they hold on to you. She gets kind of squeezy and stuff, but she's just so cool. That beveled nose.
Yeah, they're very bizarre.
The head shape. The Australis is really, he's like extra bevelly and extra large and everything on him, but he's really cool. And I love how much variation you get in their colors if they're firing up or they're firing down.
I mean, they're on a level like crested geckos on how much they change color.
Yeah,
it's
I believe it.
So that's
is the Australis nippy at all or no?
He bit her one time and hasn't tried to bite me at all.
Oh, nice.
I don't even think he was going in the shed. She said he was going in the shed.
I swear he was. Yet. Oh, okay.
He's at least laid back for me.
Good.
I just reached in there and grabbed him without hesitation. That was my fault. So he was like, "Excuse me, ma'am."
Yeah, I feel like they got a bad rap, man, and I'm glad more people like you guys are keeping them and enjoying them. And
yeah, I'd really like to get my hands on a decent group of the Australis. They're super duper cool.
The Halmahera, he cracks me up. We call him Goosebumps. He is their go-to after talking with Stygian exotics is they're always like trying to cover their heads, and if you touch them they kind of coil up and they bounce around, and that is exactly what he does. It's like you touch somebody and you give them goosebumps. Like that's him constantly. He's super neat though. He's just hard to encourage to relax.
Yeah.
But
yeah, just super shy.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes as far as projects. He was not a boa person so much.
I was Python guy.
I really love boas. I'm a sucker for especially like the locality boas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I fell in love with the Suriname that we had at the shop, Swagger. He was my first like big snake, and the Suriname, his like lavenderish pink tones and that brick red tail and his saddles down. Oh, it just gorgeous. And so
I don't think I could pick a favorite out of the true stuff, like locality wise. They're just all so freaking nice, between the Guyanas and the Surinams and the Brazilians, and like it's just they're all just
Peruvians are my favorite.
Yeah, he's on the Peruvians. But my problem is I just kind of want some of each and everything. I do appreciate a good IMG morph.
Oh, who doesn't?
I just want one, but
I'm not hip to boa morphs, but man, I see an IMG or something that looks like it's got it in it or clearly does. It's sign me up.
And then the longies, they're just those guys are super cool too. I love them.
Yeah, they're probably my favorite red tail.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And then do we have any other? What are you planning?
What am I planning?
Yeah.
I'm always planning.
I know.
What are you scheming?
Scheming. You got rhinos.
Yeah, I've got a potential really big group of rhinos coming in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back into those because I got those. Those were like my fourth and fifth snake that I ever purchased, and I fell in love the minute I got my hands on them. So I'm gonna get back into those real heavy. As far as like anything else that I'm thinking about, I'm really just want to add to what projects we have. I want to try to not get anything new. Just we've already got such a diverse collection that it's hard to give a lot of attention to individual things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
my goal right now is just to try to only build on projects that we currently have. That'll probably change in a week or two, but
Just get
we'll see.
get so excited about things. We're like, whoa, especially if we go to an expo. That's bad news bears.
My thing at expos is I like seeing
Oh
the
no.
importer tables that have all the cool stuff and the things you don't see.
We travel through expos. He's like, he goes in and he makes his rounds. There's barely any time to look at it. I love to look at every single little detail as we go around, and so it's like it's really difficult for him. You can see him dying inside. If I
like to
stop
speed walk
him
to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's I take a similar sort of strategy of like quickly, not like super quickly, but like see everything and then like slow down as you circle back around, or like remember certain tables and be like, okay, I need to come back to that one.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got their way of.
Yeah.
It's actually, I was going to ask you guys when you go to shows together, are you both together the whole time? Do you guys just go your separate ways?
We try to stay together. But sometimes she'll just get left behind because I'm trying to move on to see other things.
I have to look at it.
Yeah.
You got to get the full picture, and you got to scope out the landscape, and then have your plan of attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm with you, Smitty.
He just, I don't know. It's too fast sometimes. It's too fast. I know where he's going. I know exactly where he's going. And sometimes we have a friend with us or whatever, and he's slower paced too. So we'll like.
Yeah, they'll hang back while I go speed through and look at everything.
Isn't it crazy how like you don't necessarily know what you're quote unquote looking for, but you walk and you have your pace and you're going, you're like, no. Oh, whoa, what is that?
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah. And then you either do the Smitty thing of say, all right, I got to come back here, or take my money, please.
Yeah.
It depends on what it is. I usually try to think about it, but if it's something that there's obviously things out there that you see that you can't pass up. Like, I came across some rubber boas one time that were just sitting on a table full of just a bunch of little baby colubrid king snakes, corn snakes, and whatnot. And I was about to pass them up, saw them, and I was like, okay, here you go. Here's the money you're asking for these animals. I'm taking them.
Sometimes we buy frogs that he got really excited about frogs. They won him over.
Yeah, I bought some Solomon Island leaf frogs.
Hell yeah.
They're super cool, but at the time I had mistaken them for the Malayan horned frogs, the ones that get big.
Yes.
They've got those horns on them. I thought they were the same thing. It turns out they're not. They're equally cool, but they're not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying 4 of those, and they're pretty cool. I like them.
They are.
Nice.
I don't know. What was I thinking about? I already lost my train of thought. I don't know. I'm tired. Yeah, I feel like most of our relationship before we actually started dating was formed during Reptile Expos.
That's cool.
It's something I always wonder about, because I've, Jeff and Kendra being a couple that does this together and stuff. Like, is it a good thing or a bad thing that your significant other is into it as well? Because I can see it being awesome, because you're not going to get much pushback on getting cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But your bank account suffers greatly when you're both in it like that. So I don't.
It's yes and no, yes and no.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll talk me out of something. Other times I talk her out of something, and it turns out to be a good thing. I mean, you just we have to have self-control.
Yeah.
Comes down to that, and she's got that in spades, and I do not.
I wouldn't call it spades. My problem is I like to, if I see something sad looking, I will be like, oh no.
She likes to play the rescuer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I see something sad, I have to save it. I'm not even allowed to look at the bettas at the store.
Yeah, well, I mean, in your defense, a lot of times that shelf is pretty sad.
Exactly.
It is very sad. So that's why she can't go over there.
I was looking at the ones at my local PetSmart a couple weeks ago, and I was like, half these things are damn near dead. Like,
I know. That's what.
Doing?
That's why I have two sitting over here. The saddest, just most close to the door, little guys, but now they're just kicking ass. Yeah,
they're cool fish. That's another rabbit hole. I can't go down.
And I always tell people, anytime someone wants to like talk about the little cups they're in, right? The little cup with a cone. I'm like, look, man, they're loving their life because they're getting food and fresh water. In the wild, they literally live in puddles.
Yeah.
Like the odds of their home drying up is a real thing. So like they're doing great at PetSmart. They're fine.
How cool would that be to see betas in the wild though?
Yeah, how cool would that be?
Awesome.
That's on the list.
Well, we did a kind of a deep dive on betas on YouTube, and there's a bunch of different species of them that I just didn't even know existed.
Yeah. So those are on the list to get someday too. And if I wanted to like pick a venomous reptile that I really want, it would probably I know he said you have wrinkles, so
that I do.
Those are my favorite.
They're my favorite snake. I've said it over the years, like, oh, you can't have one favorite snake. Like, you can have a favorite python, you can have a favorite.
No, you can have a
colubrid. No, I got a favorite snake. It's the wrinkles. It is. And I've been really, really lucky to have worked with as many different individual animals as I have. But that being said, I've learned a lot the hard way, and I've lost a lot of animals that way.
Yeah.
And it's good to see some of the guys and gals keeping them online they're doing a great job. You know what I mean? And it took us a while to really learn what not to do. And I think now we're at an even keel with the handful of us that keep them.
Yeah.
They're awesome animals, man. They're awesome.
Well, see, I'm trying to be good. I'm like, I don't need one. I don't need it. But see, how quick are they to spit?
It depends on the individual animal. Okay. I have two of my. I've got several of them that don't spit. They don't care. Like, they're super tolerant. They're very chill. They have their weary moments. Like, hey, human, what are you doing? And then I have like my big girl that I plan on breeding. Her sole purpose in life is to end mine. So literally the glass is you can't look through the glass. It's just opaque with venom. And then like once every 2-3 months I get a hair up my ass. I actually take the glass off, clean all the venom off. It takes me 10 minutes of pain of glass to do it because it's all crystallized.
Is there anything in particular you use to do that?
Yeah.
So what I found works really, really well is instead of, if you use 2% chlorhexidine, instead of diluting it like 7-1 or 6-1 or whatever the normal ratio is, I'll literally go 50-50 chlorhexidine, just pour it on the glass. And then I get like 4 or 5 paper towels, and first of all, I wear gloves and a face mask while I do it because I don't want to breathe the stuff in.
That was my question.
Yeah, but I'll take 4 or 5 paper towels, I'll fold them over, and then I'll literally just elbow grease, and I rub in little circles, and I just keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and eventually it just disappears. And then I'll add more chlorhexidine mix, and I just keep doing it. And like I said, it takes about 10 minutes to do 2 panes of vision glass, 3 foot vision glass. But I'm not spraying it everywhere. I'm not scraping it. I'm very methodical about that particular thing. And I will say this, they're the only spitters I'll ever keep ever again. I'm done with spitters. So like I have a handful now that are my pets. Like we talked about pet cobras earlier, right? and they'll be with me as long as they live, they'll be with me. We're just doing the math. My Nubian cobra, I'm pretty sure, is pushing 24, 25 years old.
Dang.
Wow.
And like just battle scars all over him, cataracts in both eyes, but the dude's a trooper.
He's seen some shit.
He's seen some shit. Legit. So
well, not anymore, but
yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. Touche. But yeah, the only spitters I'll keep from this point is wrinkles, just because there's a higher probability that they're not going to spit than do spit. So
yeah, that's the only reason I would think about the wrinkles. I just never really was interested in the spitters, just because adding the face mask on to everything just seems like an extra step that I don't want to take. But she likes the wrinkles, so I might.
It is
taking that step.
They're very. I'm not going to say they're hardy. I'm going to say they're very forgiving. The biggest thing that I've learned is calmness, just being super chill and calm, and ventilation, high ventilation. That's the biggest thing. But the problem is you can't have forward-facing ventilation because they spit.
Yeah.
So like I have them in 3 by 2 by 2 visions, and they're strictly terrestrial setup, because when they stand up, they're almost 18 inches tall, easy.
Yeah.
And that seems to have enough ventilation, just because it's such an airy, damn near arboreal cage for a terrestrial animal. I feel like they do pretty well with that. But yeah, it's gloves and face shield every time, just because you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the reason why I wear face shield is because I've had lots of bad things happen with safety glasses, and it's just not worth it.
Nerd.
Yeah, the safety shield I use, I bought on Amazon. It was like $30. It comes basically to where these mid ear, almost covering my whole ear. So I'm in business. Yep.
Yeah. That's probably gonna have to add
Not
to the list.
When I get back into venomous.
You're gonna get pygmies, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get pygmies. I have zero desire to keep a labbits.
Yeah.
Like small arboreal stuff, Atheris, like all that. It's great, but I have absolutely no desire to keep mambas, cobras, any of that stuff. I'm a Croton Viper guy. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple cobra species that I'm interested in. Moroccans, being the first and foremost, and then my ultimate goal is to keep a king eventually.
Okay.
That's just tough because I don't want to try to do rodent diet for a king, and I want to do strictly snakes, and that's just something I'm realizing is very, very incredibly difficult to support.
Well, let me put it this way: from my friends that do, they don't. How do I phrase this? Like Henry, for example, Henry only keeps Ophiophagus snakes. So he does not. Yeah, he does not buy rats at all. He stockpiles frozen feeder snakes of all sizes, species, everything. And he has these massive chest freezers that get like, I don't know, -60 or whatever. So like he has prey items lined up for years to come. And I feel like that's the right way to do it. And obviously he's extreme and he's obsessed, right? But I feel like someone who wanted to get into something like like some kind of like some crate species, and they want to do a naturalistic vivarium with leaf litter and this, specific crate species. If you're doing your homework for 6 months to a year prior, or you're building your enclosure for 6 months to a year prior, you should also be stockpiling snakes 6 months to a year prior, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do when I get serious about it in a few years. Is just I have to make sure that I have some sort of reliable way to get feeders.
Yeah.
So I don't end up killing, the king cobra is my favorite snake species on the planet. And I would like to do it right and do a captive bred baby and just have everything planned out, and it's just not on the cards right now, but eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. It's doable, man. It's very doable. So I tell you what though, I'm probably gonna get yelled at by my pets for this, but my favorite true cobra is Moroccans, man. I miss them so much, and I definitely will have them again. They're batshit crazy, but they're super cool.
I worked with a pair because I was cleaning cages for a private keeper out here, and they, as far as the cobras that he had, they were the most relaxed.
Oh, really?
He also had some crazy monocles and some really, really crazy forests.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed working with the Moroccans over the other ones because they didn't really give me too much trouble, but they are just something else.
They're just something else, man. They're indigos of the venomous world.
Yeah.
Dude, they're awesome.
I've been trying to get him to sell me the pair. But he's always just like, let me see if I can breed him again. Let me see if I can breed him again. I need to hit him up and see if he's got babies because I would love to have some of those.
Yeah, you gotta get an established baby, man, to watch the change. The juvenile to, or the baby to neonate to juvenile to adult, and just watch the transition. And I feel like the animal's always more responsive when you raise it. It's used to you, smells, sight, all that. Dude, I had one Moroccan. We named him Couscous. And dude, he was like the chest popper alien from the movie Aliens. He would live in the lip of the vision, and you'd be like looking for him, like the glass is still there, everything's locked. You're like looking, and like, where the hell is he? And like as you like turn your face, he would just spring down from the ceiling and start gnawing on the glass.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was a whack job. But
I'm lucky
awesome.
my snouteds haven't figured out there's a lip up there yet.
Yeah.
He will before Coolio does.
Yeah. Well, I feel like most cobras, the lip isn't that big a deal because they're kind of clumsy and they usually just fall off. Like the wrinkles go in the vision lip every day, and you'll hear like that thump. Like 3 PM if I'm home on my day off. I'm like, what the hell was that? And I'll look, and there's like a wrinkles upside down. I'm like, oh shit, what happened? But that Moroccan, man, he would come down and go, and then come back. So
scary Jack in the Box.
Yeah, that is great. You got to work with an adult pair, man, because very few people get to see a real adult pair. That's awesome.
Yeah, he had some speckled capes as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very, very pretty. He had the gold phase one, and then the brown phase.
Nice.
And
I'll take the speckleds over the golds any day.
Nah, dude, the gold.
Dude,
man.
the golds are cool.
It was a gold speckled.
Oh, that's
even
cool.
better.
And I've been seeing those come in occasionally here and there. And I would like to get some, but I've been afraid to ask price. So
yeah.
I love the ones that look like buttermilk racers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just the gold, man. The gold is just so iconic, It's the reptile mag centerfold, for Christ's sake, from our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to not even tell where its eyes are. It's got so much speckling. I want it to look like it's got leprosy or something.
Oh, jeez.
That causes you to get like spots and speckles, doesn't it? Or am I thinking of
Leprosy?
some other sort of venereal
Leprosy,
disease?
your shit falls off.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that happened, but I thought maybe the other side effect was like you got like chicken pox or something weird.
Oh, I don't know.
Get lesions, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Not like robin's egg type lesions.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
Well, I'm not a doctor or anything. Okay.
Ooh. So that I guess so. The serpiginous on my Instagram name.
Mhm.
Serpiginous is a term we use in pathology, and basically it means snake-like. So if we're describing the borders of a tumor and it's kind of like wavy,
Oh, that's
Mm.
cool.
we'll say it's serpiginous because pathology basically has their own language. And so when I was trying to come up with my own thing, I was like, oh, duh, serpiginous. So
That's
we
awesome.
all get excited in the grocery room when somebody gets to use serpiginous because that's like one of our favorite words. But
That's
yeah.
cool.
yeah, a lot of people have no idea what
That's
that's
that's the first I've
Yeah.
heard that term. So
Mm-hmm.
now I feel one step closer to being a doctor.
It's a house of
million more
learning
to go.
doctors.
The house of learning doctors.
Smoke weed with Johnny Hopkins.
Well, is there anything else that we needed to or wanted to cover?
I think we touched base on everything, man. It's good.
It was.
It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where can people follow you both?
You can find me at C_3exotics on Instagram. That's pretty much the only place I post. I post on Facebook too, but it's all the same stuff you see on
Facebook
Instagram.
sucks.
And Facebook sucks, yeah. I don't post a whole lot. Social media is not really my thing, but you'll see me occasionally. And then
Serpiginous Inc. is mine. Serpiginous_Inc. Yeah, I post mostly reptile stuff on there. Every once in a while you see an anatomy post because I love pathology and anatomy too. But yeah, that's about all I post. I do have a separate account if you like goats and other animals, but that's
Who doesn't
more
like goats?
that account is goats, guts, and gators. So
Nice.
yeah. But yeah, that's about us in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Well, this episode was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Get yourself something nice. Put it in the cart. Put in the code THN at checkout. Get 10% off your order. Then hop on over to FulviusApparel.com. Get yourself some shirts, bookmarks.
yeah.
Collect the whole set.
There they are. There they
Look at
are.
that. They're the only
Joy.
two. Well, they're one of 2 of 3 people that have that Will Artie shirt, and I'm one of them, and they're the other
Nice.
2.
Nice.
Yeah, check that out. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. And then Cold-Blooded Caffeine. Use that link down below. Get yourself some coffee. Snakes and Stogies blend. Any of the other signature blends they have. You won't be disappointed. They make some really, really good top-notch stuff. So grab it. Get it all.
He's out.
Grab a cage. Grab a shirt. Grab some coffee. It's all there.
Who's better than you?
The plan for Thursday. Oh, so change things. Different things are happening this week. So Wednesday we're having THP because Thursday I'm doing a cigar podcast, and then Chris had mentioned trying to do a King Snake Chronicles show on Thursday, but I don't know if he was planning on me doing that with him or if he was going to try and pin down Harry. I don't know how well that's going to work considering Harry just had a baby.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get more information from him on that. But yeah, we're having Brandon Valentine on Wednesday.
Nice.
THP.
Nice.
So we've had him on here with Gron, but I don't think he's been on any of the other shows at all. So this will be
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Look forward to it. But thank you, everybody. We will see you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Thank you.
Clear. Brandon Valentine said nope.
Are you sure it's clear?
No.
I still
I don't know.
I still